Hello my lovelies, I thought I would do a video. I'm going to do a grain to glass of my house pale ale, which is what this is. It's really, I've tweaked it a couple of times and it's really getting there. Maybe a Citra, maybe overpowering it a little compared to the Mosaic that's in there. So I'm going to tweak it again. I'm going to dial back the Citra and I'm going to dial back the Mosaic a tiny bit because I made a vacant gesture a couple of weeks ago and all went well, and I just really like the taste of the Mosaic, so I might keep the Mosaic the same and just dial back the Citra a little. But I'm also going to add a small amount of Sabro. I'm thinking a little bit in a whirlpool and then a bit on a dry hop to try and I'd like to introduce a little bit of that coconut, but that can be a bit hit and miss with Sabro. So I've put, some people say you can pick it up and some people say you can't, but it also will help towards the fruity flavour. And well, isn't that the idea of like a house pale ale, is to tweak it and do little bits and pieces? So it's brew day tomorrow, and I'm going to weigh out stuff tonight. The in-laws have just turned up, so I'm hiding out here. But I'm going to prepare some stuff tonight, and then I'll do a brew day tomorrow. Well, a busy couple of days. I've been working on, well, I'm doing another video, which is a work in progress, of the development of my brew space. So today and yesterday I re-roofed this building, which is, it was a garage and now it's half workshop next door and this half is the brewery. So I just took you up to a roof. Now you see felt, tiled, retiled it. So it was no felt on before, it was just tiles and they were knackered when it rained. You could see the damp coming through. And it's just loads of dust, and I was worried about like if I brew in here when it's rubbish weather, if you get condensation drip and you don't know what it's bringing in when you're boiling. So it should keep it a little bit cleaner. I've just got a little bit of sealing up to do around the edges, a bit of expanding foam just along the end wall, and I might go along on the lower side on the eave. But hopefully it's going to be a lot cleaner in and out, and that also means I can roof in the underside of the timbers, because I was never very keen to do it before with the roof being so knackered. I mean, it's a 70-year-old roof that was there, so it's not done bad. But yeah, with the damp that was coming through, although there was no actual drips, it was only a matter of time, and I thought there was no point roofing the underside. Anyway, I'm blabbering on about absolute rubbish. So yeah, tomorrow's going to be a brew day and it should be a grain to glass, so probably be a couple of weeks before this goes up. Well, actually just over a week. I'm going to use some more of the Trub from Mango Madness, which has paid dividends. I'm on like 4 or 5 brews, maybe 6 brews with it now, with 1 packet of yeast. So certainly a way to save your money. I just literally save for Trub, and I put a tablespoon in with the wort when I'm pitching for my pitching rate. Keep the Trub in the fridge with the beers so it's nice and cool. And yeah, I better start weighing those ingredients and stuff out. Right guys, I will see you tomorrow on the brew day. Morning people. Right, it's a brew day. I was going to brew outside, but it's raining at the moment. Hopefully after the mash is complete, that'll change and I can wheel this one outside. It's mobile, so it's pretty handy, long leads on it. Yes, I can go in or out. getting up a step can be a bit of a pain, but it's not impossible. I've done it several times. I might make a little ramp for it at some point. So I added my acid last night. I've not gone with brew fibre, I'm winging it a bit because the malt I'm using seems to be acidifying the work during the mash, in the mash process when I'm taking my pH reading. And I've done a couple of tests, or a test. I did a side-by-side batch with the same water with this grain and with some more grain I bought to just rule out the grain, and it happened to be, that's the only thing I changed was the base malt, and that's what affected the pH. So this one I'm just sort of winging it a bit. So instead of, it calls for 3.5 ml of phosphoric acid, I'm putting in 1.5. I'm sort of getting it within parameters, winging it like I am. So there was a time when I never used to add anything and the beer was still drinkable. And I'm using the Easy Boil system. I made this just, basically I only paid for the Easy Boil, and I paid for a solid state relay and heatsink, and the rest of it I just had kicking around or scrounged. That's why it looks a bit rough and ready, the box, but it was a freebie. And I find this really good. You can control the vigorousness of your boil. Well, I leave mine at 100% because I do like quite a vigorous boil. Little alarm on it when it gets to mash temp. It holds temperature really well because it's a PID, so it puts, instead of being on off, I used to use something like an STC 1000, but it was rated for higher ampage. This one learns at heating up, so it sort of like doesn't put 100% power when you get close to temperature, and it'll like just buzz on and off to keep it at temperature rather than being fully on and then fully off, and you get overshoots. And then with the old one it used to dip more than a degree below and then it would shoot more than a degree over. This one is like really cock on. I'm really pleased with it, and I've used it twice so far. So yeah, I'll wait for that to get to temperature. I could plug the other element and go quick, but I'm gonna barbecue some beef short ribs today for a 10-hour cook, so I might put a little clip of that in there when I'm doing it. Weather's been a pain, like I said, but little one's got to go to school, so I'm not in a rush to get this up to temperature. Right, I will probably see you when I go in. Right, the grill's ready for some beef short ribs. I got my homemade starter on the go. Because it's so tiny, you're going to stack the coal in fairly sort of accurately. Even though I'm just a bit OCD, just to get it buzzing up through, so you keep the gaps between the briquettes, just where the starter is, the lighter, and then it'll burn up through. And that's the snake method. A couple chunks of maple there, and towards the end of the snake I go from a 2x1 just down to 2 briquettes side by side, because the heat does start to rise near the end. I'm looking at about 10 hours at 110 to 120. I've cut the fat off, which I'm going to probably render down a minute and put in the fridge for some dripping to do some potatoes or something. Yeah, Weber briquettes, they seem to give a really good burn. So, bring on the beef short ribs. Right, I'm at strike temp, so I'm going to dough in. I'm just going to wind back to mash temp. Ooh, camera's a bit wobbly. Okay, let's see how this goes. I normally jug out a few bits, but I thought I'd just try it this way. Using a whisk. I'll get about halfway through and then I'll mix my water additions in. I find that they just don't mix very well into the water. The whisk does a brilliant job of breaking up the dough balls. feel free to skip this bit because I'm sure you've seen it 1,000 times before. I'm being fairly gentle. There's been some guys on the Hop Edition, and Chris was talking about not aerating too much. He's never been a fan of Lodo, but he has found, I think his beers went clearer by not whisking in the hell out of it. So I'm just giving it a go. I must admit, the last version of this beer, I did this method, which I was a bit gentle, and it does seem to be clearing a bit, although I'm not fussed about it being hazy. Originally it was meant to be sort of hazy pale ale with a bit of a neaper twinge to it, because I've not got any early editions for bittering. My earliest edition 30 minutes. Alright, so it's about half. A little bit of water additions here. Carry on doughing in. I had a job to get everything in the camera angle. Well, not having a head in it's probably a good thing for you lot. The rain has stopped, as you can see. I've moved outside. The barbecue's lit. Look at me multitasking. And they said that was just for the fairer sex. Although some of my mates probably say I'm a bit of a woman, so. No doubt it'll all go horribly wrong. And then I'll just prove that I can't multitask. I never know whether to go quicker with mashing in or carry on as I am. I mean, the whisk does a really good job with dough balls. That was another tip from one of the guys on the Hop Edition, Tricky. Sound like a bit of a fanboy here. Well, I suppose I am really. They're a bloody good bunch. Got me through to my all grain brewing and the guys over on Home Brewing UK. Clear, Womble, Alcoholics, all of them. I'm crap with names, guys, so you've all helped a lot. The little dewberry on the end there, the black thing on the end of my return is a sparge head type thing. It's for recirculating my mash. I just set the tap so it's like a gentle trickle, but it sprays round in a complete circle and ensures that the mash water goes through the grain evenly. Yep, don't know like any dough balls there. Fold this one down to the middle. I'll tweak it briefly and then I'll push it under. Turn it right down. And submerge it. Make sure the lid doesn't snag it and push it out of the way. Right. And I'll set the timer on Brewfather for an hour. And I'll see you at some point during the mash, or if if I do anything with a barbecue. Right, I was about 15 minutes into the mash, so I'm just going to take a little sample for my pH, see where I am with it. So I just use an egg cup, just lift the recirculating arm, take a sample, a smidgen more. Yeah. Let that cool, 20 degrees. Just see where I am with the pH. Right, see you in a bit. Right, I'm at mash temperature. Sorry, at the mash time. So I'll take a sample of work for my pre-boil gravity. Pump off. This one out of the way. My pH was, I'm quite happy with it. It was supposed to be 5.21. I ended up 5.35. So, I'm reasonably happy with that. Seeing as I was guesstimating. Always worry about these bags ripping. Hasn't yet though. Switch the other element on. I'll put the easy boil to boil in a minute. Get out my element guard. Another homemade jobby. I think I got a video on it somewhere. I was building this system. Right. Set the easy boil to boil. Boil mode. Easy as that. That one's going. All so good so far. What I'm going to do, I normally squeeze out quite a bit of this, then I'll put it in the bowl to drain, put the lid on just so I can get to temperature a bit quicker, and then as it slows down, just the boil starts, I'll pour any remainder in just to get maximum sugary goodness. Right, I'll pop back in a minute when I reach the boils. You just see how vigorous this boil is. 2.5 kilowatt elements. I get about 6.5 litres of boil off, but I like the beer, so I'm going to leave it as it is. Boil has just started. Nice hot break. And there she goes, she's off. So it's not leaping out the pan, but it's quite a vigorous boil. Like I said, I get about 6.5 litres of boil off, but it seems to work for me. But now I've got the easy boil, I could dial it back if I wanted to, but then it'd mean recalculating my boil offs. If I know that would only take like a brew, I could knock it back to like 80%, save a little bit of electric, but like I say, I'm getting a good boil there. Nothing negative comes from boiling too much, I don't think. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, will you? So I got that steaming, I got barbecue smoking. Gonna be a good day. What more could you ask for? Catch you in a bit. Right, that's the boil complete. My whirlpool's on. It's just starting to get moving. So I've got my my easy boil set for my whirlpool temp. I'll start moving. It will pick up a bit of speed in a minute. And then the chiller's on and I'm collecting the hot water. I always put it in these 2 buckets and then it gives me plenty to wash with. Safe heating up water. It's fairly uneventful boil. Missed my 10-minute edition, I forgot to record it. Yeah, just waiting for it to get down to temp for the whirlpool. So I'll post another bit in a minute when I get it in the fermenter. Right, I've pitched the yeast and got it in the fermenter. Now I've got the fermenter connected up to this pipe that's going to a keg. Some people fill a keg with Starsan and then just purge it all out, but I'm a bit of a tight arse and don't want to use that much Starsan, so I fill it to the brim with water. I'll then connect it like I have now, so as soon as fermentation starts it'll purge it out, then it'll run out the party tap into the sink, empty the keg of water, so it's just CO2. I then put 2 litres in a plastic bottle of Starsan and connect it to the keg. Put 2 litres of Starsan in there, give it a good shake around and then purge that out. So there's only CO2 in there and the Starsan, I'll make sure that I don't introduce any oxygen. I won't froth it up. I'll basically connect one of these to the top of a fizzy drink bottle. Have a bottle upside down, this one connected. I'll pressurise it with a little bit of CO2 and then it'll decant itself into the keg as long as I purge out some of the pressure in the keg. And that's where that's how I get the Starsan into the keg without introducing any oxygen. Give it a good shake around, leave it for a little while, and then connect it back up to the fermenter and purge that out. And then I have a sterilised and completely purged keg for a closed transfer, which I'll try and remember to get on video for you. Right guys, I'll catch you soon. Just a quick little addition. Beef short ribs are looking pretty good. They're at temperature already, so they've cooked really quick. Probably because they're singles, not joined together, but they're really probe tender and just slide straight through. The only problem is I've got to try and think something to do with them because the missus ain't known for ages. There's the fats rendering down, the dripping. Make some lovely teddies. Right guys, I will see you when I keg the beer. Afternoon guys, it's kegging day. The Citra APA is fermented out and been dry hopped and crash cooled down to 0.5 degree for, my fridge takes a little while to get there, so it's been at 0.5 degree for 24 hours and it was below 5 for 24 hours before that, and like just dropped down to 0.5 degree. So I've pressurised the fermenter and this keg to 10 psi, so they're equal. The keg was already sterilised. I used the gases from fermentation to push sanitizer out of it, so it's purged and sanitised. I've got some sanitised and purged with CO2 lines there to do the hookup. I have a sterilised funnel in the sink, and I have a couple of sterilised kilner jars, and I'm going to save the trub to get some more brews out of it. So I'll connect it all up, get it running, and then I'll just show you the hookup. I know most of you have seen it before, but there are some people that are new to pressure fermenting and closed transfers, and it's made a massive difference to my hoppy beers. So I will just quickly hook that up and show you. So I've got kegs linked up, a keg and fermenter, sorry. So I've got the liquid out, going down to the beer out, sorry. So basically you're not going to get it splashing and just causing lots of froth. The splashing wouldn't hurt regarding O2 because there's none in there, but it just means that you don't get loads of froth in there. And then the gas in will be the CO2 that's being displaced from the liquid, going back up and into the head of the fermenter through the gas port. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll let that run its course, and then I won't film saving a trub because it can be a bit messy and long-winded, well for me anyway. Yes, so I'll see you when I get into a glass. Hello my lovelies. Well, I did say it'd be a grain to glass and a bit long-winded getting here, but here we have the glass. It's nice and hazy, pretty opaque actually, but like I've said before, it never really worries me. I think carbonation is going to be good. I've still got it forced carbing at 30 psi. I'm going to unplug it later, and then I'll give it a few days, or maybe a day, we'll see. Right. It's on the nose, it has dialed back a smidge. I'm getting something different there. My taste and smell is absolute crap, so honestly, probably shouldn't take my word for it. But there is something different, and that's probably the Sabro. It's a more complex flavour. When it was just Mosaic and Citra, it was a good flavour, don't get me wrong, it's nice, and I'd happily go back to that recipe. But there's absolutely nothing wrong with this. Yeah, the Citra and Mosaic, I mean everybody who's had enough beers about it know what it tastes like. And it does alter with like different timings and different quantities obviously, but we all recognise it. Maybe a teensy bit of hot burn at the moment, which I'm not surprised at, seeing as it only went in the keg yesterday. There is that almost, I don't know whether I'm being led here with what I've read, because I did a bit of reading on Sabro, and some people say it can give that coconut vibe and like creaminess from a coconut. I would say I'm possibly getting that, but again, am I being led from just what I've read? I think 9 times out of 10 you are. If you know if you've got something in your head what you're going to expect, then you do get it. You just hunt it down and try and find it. There is also I don't know if there's like a little bit of a tiki sort of taste to it, which is another Sabro offering from what I've read. I shouldn't have read anything on Sabra, but then I wouldn't have known what to do with it. There's nothing wrong with that. I should also have kept a glass of the other stuff to compare the two. I think there's definitely a woody taste to it, and I don't mean a negative woody taste, not in the slightest. It's not like a barrel aged beer taste. It's not that I've had very many of those. I think I'm going to have to leave this one a couple of days and then try it again. It's a good beer. I think it's a good beer, but then I'm not fussy. I think I need to up the mosaic. Yeah. I'm going to give it a couple of days and then I never take any notes. Do any of you take notes of the taste profile? I was religiously writing everything down in my brew book on the brew day. And now that using Brewfather, I seem to have I was doing both, but I seem to have slackened off. Well, that was different. Just burped, and that was a totally different taste. Not vomit, don't worry. That was quite nice. Yeah, anyway, as I was saying, I'm making this video longer and longer and longer. I really feel sorry for you if you've stuck it out this far. Yeah, so I used to write everything down and then I've stopped because all the information I need is just in Brewfather. And I guess I got lazy, maybe a bit complacent, but it's all there in Brewfather. I need to start filling out the tasting notes. This has got a really good dynamic to it, actually. So I don't know what my next tweak would be. I'm going to let it calm down a couple of days. I might do a bit of research into the Sabro, because I was fairly conservative with it, because I've read that you've got to be careful, otherwise it can really mess a beer up. Just puts in too much woody flavour. It's too astringent, too in your face. But at the minute this isn't. I think I'm going to let that one settle down. And then we'll try that. I'll probably try some Christmas Day. I won't hold back that far, but we're away for a few days after Christmas, so I reckon when I come back, that should be absolutely pucker. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Oh, some new taps. Compliments of Tricky from the Competition. Yeah, I'm going spare. Was good enough to send them out to me. Right, well guys, have a bloody lovely Christmas, won't you? Make sure you drink plenty of homebrew and just keep doing it, because it's a brilliant hobby, brilliant people involved with it. And I'm going to dedicate this one to a brewer bit, Rick, because he's been nagging me when I'm going to put another video out, and so Rick, this one's for you, mate. It's good to see you on Saturday night in the podcast, and I hope you your lovely wife and Martha have a brilliant Christmas. And I'll see you all in the new year at some point. Ta-da, bye.